Welcome back. In this video, we are going to set up our exercise recycler view adapter because we want to display the status of our exercise. We want to know at which exercise we're currently at. Are we at the jumping jacks? Are we at the wall sit exercise, push up, and so forth? And we also would like to know how many exercises we have in total. So here at the bottom, it should display all of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and set that up. Therefore, we will need to create a recycler view adapter, or an adapter as such that we can then use for the recycler view. So let's create a new Kotlin class, and I'm going to call this one exercise status adapter because it will just take care of the status, so basically of the number of exercise that we are currently at. So when you want to use this adapter for a recycler view, you need to follow a structure. So the structure is always the same, and I hope you checked out the demo for the basics of recycler views using the view binding concept as well. So we're going to require a array list or a list of some sort that will be displayed inside of this recycler view. Otherwise it wouldn't make sense, right? So you need to have some sort of list of items that you want to display there. So in my case, I'm just going to call them items, which will be array list items of exercise model. And this is array list like so. So they will be of type exercise model, which is our individual exercises. So they will have an ID, a name, an image, and known whether they are completed or currently selected. So these two will be very useful for our status because we will know that the completed ones should get a particular background color and the selected one should get a different color and the non-completed one will get again a different color. Okay, so this will just allow us to see which exercises we still have to do once we just quickly glance at the phone. All right, so if you want this to be used for a recycler view, you need to make sure that this is going to be a recycler view adapter. So here, recyclerview.adapter, where you then need to pass a view holder to. Okay, so here we're going to pass in our own view holder. So let me put that in a separate line so it will be a little more readable. So here, this will be the exercise status adapter view holder dot view holder, and here the holder with a capital H like so. Now this doesn't exist yet, but we're going to create our own class inside of our exercise status view holder. And how does that work? Well, this is going to be an internal class. So here, class view holder, and here, because we're using view binding, we need to pass the view binding to it. So item exercise status binding is what we are going to pass, and it will be just a recycler view holder. So we're going to inherit from the view holder class, to which we then need to pass the view binding object again. So binding.root. Okay, so this is our view holder, how it's going to be in general, and now we can access its items. So for example, I can access the text view item to be binding.tv item. So what is this TV item? It's this individual item that we have here, of which we will have 12 because we have 12 exercises. But that's the whole point. If we had 15 exercises because we decide that we don't want to make it a 7-minute workout but a 9-minute workout app, then we could very easily just add additional items to it. Okay, and our code will still work. All right, so we have this vault TV item. So let's actually use it, because if you create an adapter, you need to implement a couple of members, and the members that you must implement are on create view holder, on bind view holder, and get item count. So these three methods. So let's just click the button and you see it creates all of those methods for us, which we now need to implement. So on create view holder, that's where we want to return our own view holder that we just created. So let's return it, return view holder, and we need to pass in the binding. So here we can just go ahead and use item exercise status binding dot inflate, where we then use the layout inflator, but we need to get it from somewhere. And we're going to get it from the parent's context, because we cannot just pass this as this recycler view doesn't have its own context. It needs to use the context from its parent, which will then use the context from the activity that it's at. All right. So then we also need to pass in the parent as well as whether we want to attach to parent. And we're going to say we don't want to attach to parent. So let me put that in a separate line. So that's going to be the structure whenever you are using a recycler view with your own view holder in the default fashion. Okay, so we have the onCreate view holder here, which is an override function. So it's given to us and we need to return something that is of type view holder. All right, so let's do exactly that. We return the view holder, to which we, if we look at it, need to pass a binding object of type item exercise status binding, which is exactly what we do here, but we also need to inflate it. And if you want to inflate outside of a activity, which is what we are at, we are inflating inside of a adapter or an adapter, and now we need to pass in the layout inflator from as given context. And then we can pass in the view group, which is our parent, and we're not going to attach to it. Or we're not going to attach to the parent. So then what should happen for every single item when the view is bound? So on bind view holder. Well, what I want to get is the model of our exercise model. So exercise model, which will be items at the position that we're currently at. So what are items again? Well, it's this items object that we get here. So once we create an adapter object, we will need to pass an array list of exercise models. And if you recall, in exercise activity, we have exactly that. So here we have this exercise list, which is an array list of exercise model. So we'll need to pass in this exercise list later on. So we're passing this exercise list of individual exercise models, and then we get the one, so the exercise list item, at the position that we are currently at when binding the view holder. So in our case, this method will be called 12 times because we have 12 view holders that we will bound. For each position, 1. Okay, so here, position is an integer, and we are passing basically entry 0, entry 1, entry 2, and so forth. So position 0, position 1, position 2, and so forth. And all of these will be individual items that will be displayed next to each other, which will just look like this little circle. Circle 1, circle 2, circle 3, circle 4, and so forth. You will see that once we're done with it. So now I can use this model in order to access its ID. So holder dot text view item dot text should be the model dot get ID dot to string. So what's happening here? Well, we are getting the ID as a string from our model. So what is that? Well, our model is this exercise model, which has an ID, of which we now get, but it's of type integer. So now we're converting it into a string. And what do we assign it to? We assign it to our holder's text view item text property. So what is this holder again? Well, it's this holder that is our own view holder. And we can now access this text view item object. Okay, so this one in particular, not this one, but we're getting this one in particular. So we're getting the text view item, which is going to be connected to the text view item, which is this thing here. And then we actually assign an ID or a number to it. Okay, so we're basically assigning the exercise numbers here. So number 1 for jumping jacks, number 2 for wall sit, number 3 for push up, and so forth. And now we just need to also return how many items we will have in total inside of this recycler view. And here you just need to return the items.size. So basically whatever array list is given to the adapter dot size. In our case, it's the items. In your case, it could be whatever you want to call it, dot size. Okay, so this by itself, unfortunately, is not going to be enough to show anything because we are not connecting this adapter. As you see, it's gray. We're not connecting it yet to the adapter that we have inside of our exercise XML. So here, activity exercise, we have our recycler view at the very bottom, this one. Now we just need to assign the adapter that we just created to this recycler view and set it up accordingly, saying that it should not be a list that is a vertical list, but it should be a horizontal list and so forth. And that's what we're going to do in the next video. So see you there.